Hello and welcome to the Link Podcast. The Link Podcast is created to build community through conversation. We focus on stories of creatives, business owners, community leaders, and all-around interesting people from the community of Lincoln, Nebraska. We welcome you to come learn about your neighbors as we have conversations with them and discover their stories.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Link Podcast.
Welcome.
I'm Andy Morrison.
I'm Stephen Carlson.
And today we've got on Steve Baillargeon.
I think that's right.
Correct us if we're wrong.
Yes.
And he works for this cool organization called Monolith.
Yeah, they create this insane thing that we don't realize is in everything. And they do it in a very economically friendly way.
Environmentally friendly way.
Yeah, environmentally friendly way. I think that's the same thing, or not?
Economics is money.
Oh,
Environment is green.
My bad.
Oh, wait.
My bad. Anyways,
no.
It's
But
great.
do you see what I just did there? I said economically is money, but environment is just green, but money is green. Economics is the environment, I guess.
Wow. All right, we're breaking ground already today. But anyways, we get into all sorts of super cool things as he's coming from Canada to San Francisco, and now he lives in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Rode a motorbike from San Francisco to here.
Yeah, we get into
Which is really
motorcycles,
cool.
We get into life and just
Yoga.
spending time alone. It's interesting conversation.
Really cool guy. I think you guys could take a lot. Everybody can learn a lot from him because I think I did.
I definitely did.
Which is really cool. But yeah, give it a listen. I hope you guys enjoy.
And Kai has the best question of all. On
Kai
this
literally
podcast.
has the best question of all. We need to give Kai a better microphone than his Apple microphone that's attached to his headphones.
And without further ado. All right, cool. Well, welcome to the Link Podcast. I'm Stephen Carlson.
I'm Andy Morrison, and today we've got...
Stephen Baillargeon.
That's how you say it.
Yeah.
I've literally seen it on your Instagram so many times. I'm like, I'm not going to say it tonight because I'm going to screw it up.
Try it right now.
Baillargeon, now that he just said it, right? Did I
Is
get
that
it close?
correct?
You got it pretty close.
Ballard
Close.
it's a soft G, right? Or what? Baillargeon.
There you go.
Baillargeon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You got to hear it
Okay.
again, sort of. So
There we
I
go.
literally read it the first time. I was like, Baillargeon?
yeah, no, like
What? What?
there's been so many iterations of my name and spellings and the way people say it. Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's
Yeah,
French.
and we probably get our names mixed up all the time too. Because I get Steven, I get Stefan all the time. So,
Yeah, is it with a PH or V? It's like
yep.
just the way it sounds.
Just the way it sounds. Come on. So, I mean, there's tons of questions to be asked. But let's get started with, so what are you doing in Lincoln?
What am I doing in
Yeah.
Lincoln?
Where are you from?
Where am
Yeah.
I from? Okay,
That's
so you
a
want to
better
go
question.
back.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm originally from a place called Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and so that's in central Canada or Western Canada, about 1,000 miles north of Denver. Kind of get yourselves geographically
straight.
located. Yeah,
Dang.
and so, but I always tell people it's like Lincoln's twin city, and like people just don't know about it. It's in the prairies. It's like same size city, like 300,000 people, surrounded by farming communities, generally conservative. Has this downtown arena debate all the time, which you guys have finally solved yours, and it's a good model, I think, to be like showing Saskatoon. But yeah, no, it's like football tradition. I could just go on and on. There's so many similarities
It's
from
not
industries
hockey?
and manufacturing.
Not hockey tradition?
There's no professional hockey team in Saskatoon because
Nope.
it's too
Is there any
small. So
professional?
again, just like Nebraska,
That's
no
crazy.
professional. We have the CFL, so that's where our football tradition is. But
Dude, I want to go.
that's a debate if it's really professional or not. They get paid, so
Hey, that's professional if you
yeah,
count it that
yeah,
way.
yeah. So that's where I was born and raised, and went to university, and then moved to Calgary. So that'd be like moving to Denver. It's like 6 hours west of here on the foothills of the mountains. Calgary's a great place. That's just kind of where I went after university. And that's where I became an accountant. The most exciting career you could probably choose.
I honestly didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go to school for to be an accountant?
Accounting. Well, I probably was just like following my big brother's footsteps a little bit, going into business. They went into marketing and finance, and I just remember at one point my older brother being like, "You got to do more than just a degree. A degree is not going to be enough anymore." And so I was like, "Okay, like what can I do beyond that?" And so getting a professional designation is kind of the direction I went. Just took a real conservative route. Always wanted to make sure I had a job, but love the idea of business and accounting. You get to learn a lot about it. So little did I really know about accounting and how boring it can be. So for most of my career, after I got into accounting and experienced it, I was like, I need to get out of accounting. And so just started to kind of like then veer into, I was like, well, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? Like what interests me, but I don't want to throw my accounting away because, you know, you can get a good career in it, obviously. Yeah. And so then I started to get into construction, and I wanted to do like construction projects. I always liked building things. And so then I joined what was an engineering and construction firm. Spent a lot of time doing boring accounting for an construction engineering firm. But it, like, the reason I went into accounting was because I knew it would open doors and I'd get a lot of exposure to things. And then eventually, about five and a half years ago now, I get a message on LinkedIn from a guy that I grew up with in Saskatoon who founded a company in San Francisco. And he is like, hey, like, your profile looks like you'd be a good match. Like, and we hadn't seen each other since high school. Kind of went separate ways or whatever, but grew up playing hockey as kids and stuff like that. And then within that LinkedIn message in my inbox, 5 weeks later, I was living in San Francisco. It was just like, yep, let's do this.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Was it like hey, this company would be a great fit for me, or was it just like I need to get out of the job that I'm in, or or is it kind of both? Or
yeah, kind of both. The company I was working with at the time was just like wrought with fraud. Like CEO went to jail. Like they if they haven't, they should be writing a movie about this company. A very well-known, large, established, like Canadian giant company. And so there was just a lot of turmoil, and so I was just looking for opportunities and had updated my profile in LinkedIn a few months before. And the opportunity to join a small company, there was only 10 employees at the time. I always wanted to work with a small company because I always worked with large multinationals. And then it just seemed like, yeah, here's the time. And bonus, I get to move to San Francisco, get paid US dollars. You know, it was just like, this is going to be a really great opportunity. Plus, I mean, the biggest factor was, you know, the CEO, he's now our CEO, one of the founders, just like to get up and leave what was a good job in a good city. I could see the mountains from my corner office type of thing, and I loved it. I would go to the mountains all the time. And so I was in a good spot, but I was like, this is just a really good opportunity. And I just had faith and trust in him, what he was doing. And then it had the bonus that it was like a really good thing for the world. And like what Monolith is working on doing is just like a really good thing. And from an environmental standpoint, really going to be transformative. And so it was kind of just like opportunity to move to the States, work with a small company, just checked a lot of cool boxes. And so, yeah, I jumped on a plane, went down for an interview, and 5.5 years later, now I'm in Lincoln.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So did you ride your motorcycle to San Francisco?
No, I didn't have the motorcycle.
Not at that point?
No. The motorcycle was a new thing about 6 months before I moved here.
Oh, okay.
So like it was kind of a bucket list thing.
And what have you got?
A Ducati Multistrada 1200 S. Yeah.
Wowza.
I love it.
He can actually get moving somewhere.
Yeah.
That's so. The motorcycle was just like kind of a bucket list thing. Like I was talking about those road trips I was doing with a buddy of mine in his old Westie, and we always talked about like doing a cross Canada trip on a motorcycle one day. And then I was like, well, I'm not getting any younger here, so
it's time to do it.
Yeah, and a coworker of mine, he's big into motorcycles, and I noticed he had a couple BMWs down there, and he loves them.
They don't run.
They will.
Hopefully, yeah.
So you were in San Francisco for 5 years or 5.5 years?
Just about 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what made the final like jump to like now you're in Lincoln? Because I don't know if it was me and it was like, I have San Francisco, I have a job I love, everything's sweet. I'd be like, don't get me out of here. So what like kind of made you like, yeah, I want to make that jump and actually do that, or kind of how'd that happen?
Well, I always kind of knew Nebraska would be in the future. So we're building a manufacturing facility, and it doesn't make sense to build that in California.
Just because how much money ground is?
Economics, well, that's, like land availability. It's crazy out there, absolutely insane. There just isn't a lot of land available anyway. But so land availability, but just to build a manufacturing facility, electricity prices are really high in California. And so before I joined the company, they kind of had Nebraska on the map as like the likely place to build the plant. And so I was like, well, that's where the plant is going to be. That's where the revenue is going to be generated. So my accountant was thinking, it's like as if the company is not going to probably be there, or a large part of the company would not be there in the future. So I always kind of knew that Nebraska would be in my future as well, if the company was successful. And so after, I thought it might be in San Francisco for a couple of years. Well, things take a little longer when you're doing something that's never been done before. So you don't really know how long that runway or that path is going to take to cross. So I was kind of, even moving to San Francisco, I knew. But the reason Nebraska ended up winning out, if you will, is because we just, from an infrastructure standpoint, it really made sense to build here. Really stable electricity, a bunch of boring, but economics is really the short answer. Or infrastructure in Nebraska is really set up.
I guess I think of it in my head, I'm like, why not like Wyoming or like Montana or any of those spots? Like what about Nebraska? Even if it is boring economics things, why in Nebraska?
So when we looked at 18 different states. We even looked at one of the provinces in Canada, and just kind of looked at all the things that were important and cost drivers. Obviously, if you're doing something, it needs to be profitable. Especially if you want to be sustainable for the long term. So electricity was a big thing. So stable electricity and low electricity prices here in the state were very attractive for us. So that's kind of the first one. Logistics too, being located in the geographic center of the United States helps with shipping costs to customers. And then natural gas availability as well. So gas and electricity are the two main kind of inputs for our process. And so having optionality on the natural gas, just with how it can fluctuate and that sort of thing throughout the states, was important. And then the byproduct, so we make two products. What we're doing is we're taking natural gas and we're breaking it down into its basic elements by hitting it with a whole pile of electricity. And so if you hit it with a bunch of electricity in an inert environment, so a non-combustive process, so no oxygen, you separate the carbon from the hydrogen. So natural gas is predominantly CH4, so methane gas. Go back to high school chemistry for a sec here. But if you can remember, that one carbon with 4 hydrogens attached to it, you hit it with energy, it splits them, the carbon separates, and if you do it right, it forms this product called carbon black. That becomes a reinforcing product that's found in almost all plastics, but everything you see black, and but most commonly it's found in tires. So on those motorcycles down there, 30% of that tire is this product called carbon black.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's mixed with rubber to then reinforce and give you traction, and but it reinforces the tire. That's its main use in the world.
So what makes, I guess, what's the normal process of getting that?
Of making carbon black?
Yeah, like compared to obviously, like you said, this is a completely new process of how it's made. Like what makes the difference? And you said it's economically way better for the world also. So
environmentally, it's a big win. But so what we're doing differently. So the incumbents will be making it using a different feedstock. It's usually coal, tar oils, things like that, heavy oils.
Okay.
And so heavy oils have a lot of other items in there, if you will. So sulfur is another big thing that you find in heavy oil. And so they kind of take the bottom of the barrel, what's left out of the refineries, and they would extract the carbon out of that. But they're doing it with combustion, so they're burning it. And so when you're burning it, some of that carbon will pair up with oxygen.
I see.
Making CO2. It's bad stuff. Greenhouse gas emissions. That sulfur will also then start bonding to the oxygen and making some more greenhouse gases. And so our process doesn't have the oxygen because we're not combusting. We're just creating a lot of heat using energy, using electricity. And so then the C's just separate from the H's, and they're not bonding with any O's, no oxygen, because it's not there.
Huh.
That's nuts.
Mind-blowing.
It's crazy, man. I'm just an accountant here. We've got a whole bunch of really smart dudes that I work with.
You sound like a scientist, so if that's what you were going for, you did it. 'Cause I was like, okay, he really knows what he's talking about.
Trying to break it down into a way that I can explain it.
Yeah.
I annoyed the real smart guys with my simple questions. I'm like, no, like I need to get this.
Yep.
And then so our process will have, instead of making a lot of these greenhouse gas emissions, there's all the H's or hydrogen. They'll pair up and make hydrogen gas. And so then you've got a really clean, another clean chemical that's like used for a lot of things. You can use it to make energy. Being in Nebraska here, fertilizer is another big thing, ammonia. And so hydrogen can go into ammonia. And it's just another common, very useful product that's used in the world. And ammonia is like a really, really good story too, because from a fertilizer standpoint, it creates a lot of the food. If you got rid of, if you were to eliminate kind of the use of that fertilizer, you'd lose a lot of the food in the world as well. So we've got this way to do this in a very, very clean way. And so we're doing it here in Nebraska.
That's awesome.
Yeah, super excited.
That's really cool to just like have that be here. To me, it's really cool. I mean, just like looking at like Nebraska as a state, and everybody's just like, it's corn. It's
it's a flyover state, just like Saskatchewan.
It's soybeans. It's know, like we're actually, now that you guys are here, we're actually like producing something that nobody really in the world is doing it the same way.
No, like no one. Now let me back that up. Some people are making carbon black from natural gas, but carbon black comes in like, there's so many different types and grades. They're only making like a small part of it, and they haven't been able to hit like the mass, like the tires and stuff like that, which consume 70% of the world's carbon black. So like we're going after the lion's share of the grades, if you will, and we've demonstrated that we can do it. And so now we're doing it at a commercial sized scale, so that we can like prove that we can do this at this scale. So it's like, I always kind of use the easy bake oven or like your homebrew kit. So that's what we did in California. So
so that was like the test model.
That's it. What we call a bench scale or pilot plant. A demonstration facility to prove that we can make these different grades out of natural gas. And so we did that, and then the investors gave us some more cash, and we're like, let's go do it in Nebraska. And so we're doing it now, and like it's been tried. It's been tried.
The facility's like up and open and running, or is it
almost
like,
a couple more
there?
months? Yeah. We've been building it for just over a year now, and so we're kind of getting there. Fighting the weather out here a little bit.
Yeah, I bet.
That's construction, as you know. So you can,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's
so when you came here, how'd you get here?
Yeah, so the motorcycle. Yeah. You want to talk about the motorcycle?
I like talking about motorcycles.
Somehow I missed the question before. Yeah, so a buddy of mine who used to work at the company, he's got BMWs, and he's like, he was going to move to Nebraska as well. And he's like, man, you should buy a motorcycle, and we should like road trip and take a couple weeks and do this. I was like, deal. Let's go buy me a motorcycle. So went and looked and found a bike, and then he met a girl. And he moved to LA instead of coming to Nebraska. One of my best friends, love the guy, he's awesome. So then I was like, well, I got the bike, I'm moving to Nebraska. So I just did it on my own with like maybe a couple thousand miles under my belt, and was just shitting my pants even when I left, because I was like, 2,400 miles, and I had to do it in 7 days because I had to get back to work.
Oh, really? So there was like an actual time crunch.
Yeah, and like I stopped, and like I was working in my tent at night sometimes, and just like stopping and getting off the road and getting on a phone call.
That's awesome.
But it was cool.
I mean, when we did our first road trip, we just basically were like, we have about 16 to 20 days. Because we were like, we're probably going to break down at some point, because we were all riding not bikes that you should ride that far. But man, I couldn't imagine like a time crunch. So how many miles did you have to do a day?
Yeah.
Just depended, I guess. I mean, yeah, I did. I can't remember exactly, but I did 2,400 over 7 days. So what's that, 350 or so?
Jeez.
Yeah. So they were like 5 to 8 hour days. And that last day was so painful.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Did you do I-80?
yeah, headwind the whole way too. It was just like, go 90 miles an hour. Let's get this over with. And then it just hurts.
Were you
then.
like halfway through the state and you're like, why am I moving here?
Well, I knew, yeah. No, I knew what I was getting myself into, but no, but I thought a lot about like, just like in Denver, putting it on a truck and flying the last bit.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, I thought about that a lot. Why didn't I do that? You know?
Yeah.
No,
But now you can say you did it.
It was part
Yeah.
of it was part of the adventure, man, and it was just an incredible trip. Just personally too, just like, have you ever spent 7 days alone?
No.
Right, like,
Yeah.
except for the gas station attendant, or
Yeah.
you know, went to Red Rocks and ended up like, there was a show, the Grizz were never even heard of them, but then it was like this 15-piece band that was playing and just like jamming out awesome tunes. But driving my bike up, this other guy and his girl on their motorcycle, they like cruise up, and then of course they're taking the shoulder. I'm like, okay, these guys know where they're going, so I follow them and right up to the top, motorcycle parking right at the very,
Heck yeah.
so you didn't have to do the hike up, and then so made good friends with them and hung out with them, and yeah,
That's so
these-
sick.
yeah, so it was just like, there's all sorts of just like random things like that. But going back to the first night, I missed, so I booked a spot to stay at Yosemite, but I missed the turn.
Oh no.
Somehow I missed the turn for like one of the biggest state or national parks in the country, maybe. I don't know.
Did you have like a heads up display or anything, or was it just like
No,
wrote the
I
directions
didn't
on
bring a
your tank,
GPS.
or-
I was just like, I just would check the map and
yeah.
thinking like, how can I miss it? And actually there's 2 points that I missed, so I really
Nice.
missed it.
You were
like,
just in your head.
You were
were
really
just
in your
going.
head then.
Yeah, like it was, I
Did
don't
you
even
do-
remember. All of a sudden I was just like, shit, like I should be getting there by now.
Yeah.
And
Did
then
you
it was
have
getting
headphones in or
dark.
anything?
It was getting dark. Yeah, I had a headset and stuff too, but like I don't remember. I just, all of a sudden I remember it's being like very dark, and I'm like, I should have, like, time wise I should be there by now. And then I'm running out of gas. I don't know where I am because now I'm in the mountains and reception doesn't work, and I'm like, what did I get myself into? Like, this is like 4 hours into my 7-day journey, and I'm just like,
Day one.
I'm screwed. Like, I'm in trouble. Anyways, just keep going. Like, what else can you really do? And eventually I could see these like lights in the mountains, like in the valley or something. So I was like, okay, sweet, there's a town. So like I keep going and I get there and I pull up and there's a sign, and it's a U.S. Marine Army war or something warfare training center.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, well, they probably got gas. So I was like, this is good. And then, but then my phone reception, you know, they obviously had some cell reception out there too.
Yeah.
So then it was like, oh, you're just like 10 miles away from a gas station in a town. And so then I kept going and then went to the motel, and they wanted an arm and a leg. And I was like, I have all the camping gear I need because I was planning to camp. And then, so he just pointed me in the direction, nice guy, and sent me. And I found some young guys sitting around the fire drinking beer. So I was like, perfect. You guys mind if I camp with you guys? They were like,
Sure.
can't really say no to a guy who pulls up at like 1 a.m. on a motorcycle. So yeah, they were pretty cool. They're just like, don't leave any food because the bears are here. And the bear did visit overnight. So
Had you ever experienced like bears or anything like that? I would have freaked out.
I didn't
haven't.
see or hear. It was just, you could tell because of the garbage.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, I have not.
No.
No, that's crazy though.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. Growing up, like, yeah, bear story, back to the Volkswagen. One morning we woke up, we had put the garbage just under the van, like in the bag, which was
Oh
stupid.
no.
And so we wake up and the van is like kind of shaking, and there's a bear, like his shoulders like rocking the van because he's like pawing at trying to get the garbage bag from under the van. And so that's how we woke up that morning. It was,
Yikes.
So did you just eventually leave? Or
so
did
we
you
just
get
fired the van up and like, you know, an old
yeah.
75 van, like, and the bear took off. Exactly. But yeah,
awesome.
changed our shorts after that one. It was,
Jeez.
it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
What do you think? This may be a weird question, but what do you think you learned from like 7 days being alone?
that I
Like-
need to spend more time alone. Yeah, that was
Because
just self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a really good time to just like, you're with your thoughts like for so many hours, and
You have no choice but to only be there.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not enjoy it?
And I mean, you guys have been on motorcycles, right? Like, it's just you and like nothing else, right? You don't have the radio going. The phone's not going to ring.
Yeah.
There's just no interruption. And so it's just like, I think that there was just something really great about it that I was like, I remember writing it and I kind of journaled everything every day. And, that was something that I definitely put in there that I have not been successful at keeping honest to, but
It's so tough.
it's so hard. Well, yeah. So,
And that was a year ago? Or how long was
so that was July. Yeah, I came here a year and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2018.
So you have any other bike trips planned that you're like,
No, I got to get the bike fixed right now.
What's going on?
Oil leak.
oh no.
I don't know. Yeah. If anybody
Well, I
wants
think
to check a bike out.
I think we are going to do a Black Hills trip at the end of August, I think.
Yeah,
If
that
you
would
want to
be.
go to the Black Hills with us.
I've never been.
The invite's
Always
out
down.
Travel
Let's-
just back west across Nebraska.
there. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great trip. Have you ever done it?
No.
It's kind of cool to go to the Black Hills because you go through the first like 3 hours aren't that great, but like you go through the way we would go, at least it's like, I think it's Shadron. Is that
Dude,
what
I
it-
wonder if it's like this similar drive that I did getting my truck back.
Probably, because there's like, it's a little river town like right on the border of South Dakota and Nebraska, and then it's just kind of like sweet badlands and stuff like that from
Yeah,
there.
I
Yeah.
think, dude, that's
It's really cool.
So
It's
you've done
really
this
cool
a
drive.
few times?
I've never rode it with a bike, but I've driven it with a car
Yeah.
a couple times. But yeah, it's fun.
So how many
The Black
miles?
Hills
Like
are
how
super
long of a
cool.
trip is that?
like 8 hours. No, it's like, I mean, six and a half.
In a car, it's like 7 hours.
Yeah.
Each
But,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
That's not
think
bad.
we'll probably do it in like 3 days, and then just spend like 3 or 4 days out there, because it's like the, I don't know what you would call it. Kai would be able to tell you better, but it's like more of like it's like non-touristy Denver.
Cool.
Like, and I mean, maybe that's not even the best way to describe it.
There's areas that are touristy, but there's less people in general.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to get away from people.
Yeah, it's like
Not crowded in big lines and that kind of
Yeah,
thing. If
it's
you want to
like-
get away from it.
we could ride out into the middle of the forest and we wouldn't see anybody for like a week. Like,
But
and
if
it's
you want the
just right
touristy
there.
things, there sounds like there's some
Yes.
touristy
Mhm.
things to
Yeah,
see.
you can go to the Cosmic House or whatever it is, where it's like a fun house, and there's just some weird stuff out there. But it's super
Yeah.
fun. You can go cliff jump off stuff, and
Yeah, cool. This
Yeah.
sounds like a great time.
it's gonna be fun.
I'm only hesitating
So,
because
so August.
yeah, August.
Yeah.
Hesitating because like since moving here, my girlfriend Sue and we had a little baby boy like 5
That's
months ago.
awesome.
He turned 5 months. Like he's 5 months now.
He is the cutest.
He is, man, it's so adorable. And you're going through it now too. Hey, it's
Yep.
just like so life changing. Yeah, so the planning is
But as
takes a
far as
little bit
we
more
know,
coordination.
Stefan's
Yes.
still going on the trips. So.
Yeah, we're gonna Brooke's already like, how do we get the heck out of here? Because she's like ready to travel. I don't know if Sue's that way or not, but she's like, she's on maternity leave still, and she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm ready
Take advantage of that.
I'm ready to go somewhere and do something.
Yeah, we've been talking about like getting a trip in, getting a vacation in, and so far it's just been a lot of talk. We've got some planning that's
Yeah.
happened, but
Are you guys beach people or more mountain people? Or
both.
both. Yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely like she lived in Florida for a number of years, and then myself living in Calgary, like we had 7 ski resorts within 5-hour drive. So
Oh,
if it was a
that's
big
amazing.
powder day, it's like sorry work.
Yeah.
Get up at 4 a.m. and just like head out to the mountains. So either or outdoors, it's just the
Yeah.
atmospheres are so good. in
What
both
things have you
places.
found in Lincoln that you're like, man, I'm so glad like this is here?
What
I mean,
just
it could be anything. It
Yeah,
could be drinks. It could be
Pizza,
Food, if
it
it
could
could be outdoor trails or anything. Like what do you
yeah,
think
like I can't say I've like explored it a whole lot, but what I do like, last March we just bought a place over near Randolph Elementary School, so it's just like this incredibly chill neighborhood that I like.
Yeah.
Just love it there. Honestly, it's just like I've always lived. Like Calgary's 1 million people. San Francisco, I mean, the Bay Area has, I don't even 8 million or something like that. People are stacked on top of people there, and I've always kind of liked the energy of like the big cities. I've always lived like near where there's like shopping and bars and restaurants, and so then here with the arrival of Elgin, it was like, hey, we gotta change it up a little bit because we were living downtown in the Grand Manse. But the whistles every Saturday morning on game days, it was like, this probably won't be too fun with anymore. The police directing traffic and whatnot. But yeah, so then we ended up buying this cool little house right near downtown and just love it. And then too, just, you know, Sue's a yoga instructor and I do a lot of yoga as well. And so we've got this really great community of friends that we've made through the yoga studio. And so
where do you
just got
go?
some really great people. Lotus House of Yoga.
Sweet.
Yeah. So they just opened up a new studio too, actually. They just moved over by the mill in the Telegraph District.
Oh, yeah, they did. It's
Yeah.
just across the street, right? Like right across the 21st
that's
Street.
it. Yeah. So Sue teaches 5:30 on Fridays, if anyone's interested. Sundays at 7:45 a.m. PM on Friday, a.m. 7:45 a.m. on
I was
Sundays.
like, man, 5:30. I don't know if I could do yoga that.
Dude,
Oh,
I
no,
just
it's
went
the
to my
best.
first yoga class this last week.
Oh, nice. What'd you think?
Kicked my ass. It's so fun. Like, it's a great feeling, but it's like, holy cow, like I didn't know that like holding this position and breathing was gonna hurt so much. Like I was shaking, like just like 45 minutes in, like then like doing all this stuff, then going back into a plank and just like sitting there. I was like are we gonna do something else easier?
What made you go do yoga?
It's actually at the Outdoor Adventure Center. They have it.
Okay.
Like they offer it for free with your membership, or not necessarily, I guess, free because you have to pay a membership. But it's like like yoga for climbers, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
It was great. It was super fun. Like just nonchalant. I was like walked in and then class started.
Yeah.
So I guess you would say like the thing that you like most about Lincoln is just like how the community's kind of been you've been like
I could just go on.
taken in.
Yeah, like you nailed it. Like, so before I moved here, I was kind of traveling back and forth for 2 years. Like, got frequent flyer status, flying from San Francisco to Omaha. It's just so many trips. And so just like the community has just been incredibly welcoming, not just to me but to the company. I remember one of the early trips with our founder. We came out and we got hooked up with a dinner over at Fralix, and they had some other people from the business community and from the city and stuff kind of over just to like introduce us to people, and just like really incredibly welcoming, personal way to welcome people from a faraway land, I guess. And it's just been like so much of that. And I've been traveling back, and I traveled for a couple of years, and I've been living here almost a couple of years. It's just been an incredibly welcoming community, and everybody just really wants to see people succeed, and they will do whatever they can to help you succeed. And it's just that the generosity and the spirit is just really, really great in that regard.
That's cool. That's cool to hear somebody from the outside like saying that. Not saying that you're from the outside, but
from the outside.
Like
born and raised here.
Yeah. It just seems like it's really cool to like hear that, because I feel like we try and embody that as just being like Lincoln in general, but like it's cool to hear that was your experience. Because I didn't know. I was like, I'm going to have you on tonight, and I'm going to ask you if you like Lincoln or not. And we'll see if he does or doesn't.
Yeah, no. And then like, that whole Haymarket, it's a great setup too. I talk about like, the downtown arena debate in Saskatoon. But you guys did it here, and there was a lot of people against it. And I think a lot of those people have flipped and been like, no, this was a good thing. Yeah. And I just really like, there's like a real good kind of central vibe, and with or without the football games, like there's a lot of good things happening down there, and it's just really cool to see.
What's different about Saskatoon football compared to Husker football?
Well, we don't have 100,000 people go to our games, but they do sell out like crazy, and they'll
do
go.
They really?
Yeah, and they'll sell out when it's like -30. Like People are
Jeez.
crazy. You give them some whiskey, I guess they'll sit in the stands. I don't
There you
know.
go. Maybe that's the difference. You can actually have alcohol.
That's probably
If you
yeah.
have whiskey.
Yeah.
But
I've
Canadian
been to a
football's
game recently
different.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So but it's like everyone gets into it. We bleed green, so like even if you go to a campground, like people got their TVs outside the camper, and they're all watching it, and then they get a touchdown. There's fireworks going off everywhere.
Dude, I
like,
really want to go.
That's crazy. That's
this
the
sounds like
the
just a
similarities is
parallel
because it's like the same thing. If you go to any like
lake.
of the terrible lakes around here and hang out, like
There's
somebody's
somebody, like,
with
with
an
a-
RV with
with a
their
flat
radio
screen
the
and
just,
hooked up,
satellite.
yeah.
just cranked, or
Yeah.
if you just drive down the street, somebody's in their garage probably listening to it
like
full tilt.
you can find anything in green. Like they even brand like the antifreeze with Rough Rider stuff. It's like it's just because people will buy it, right? You got a
That's
lot of
Hilarious.
more. I bet you there's more red shoes per capita in this city than anywhere else
That's
in the world.
probably
Like,
true. Definitely red shirts.
Oh my
red shirts,
gosh.
red trucks, red.
Yeah.
There's a lot of red trucks.
That's true.
Yeah.
I never realized how many trucks we have until I travel. Like, and you're like, we have like 70% of cars in Nebraska are
I haven't
trucks.
seen I haven't seen a Silverado in a while. Where are those things at? All I'm seeing are these Priuses.
You were saying like, okay, I understand what you're saying. I thought you were literally talking like you haven't seen a Silverado.
No,
in a
no, no,
while.
no, no, no.
Oh, okay.
I've seen. My neighbor has a Silverado.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
It was a bad joke.
What's kind of like, I guess what's next for you here? Like, what do you see? Do you see like you want to stay here long term? Is this like a spot where you want to be and grow a family, or is it like?
Yeah, it's.
I know that's a loaded question.
We talk like because their question, are you mountain, are you beach? Like we're always like, let's get out of here, right? Like
Yeah.
What we got going on with Monolith though was a great thing, and like when I moved here like 2 years ago, we only had 4 employees in Nebraska. Now we've got almost 90, or I think we have 90 now.
Wow.
So we've grown a lot.
Yeah.
Like over 15 of us moved from San Francisco to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've just been continuing to just hire and grow, and things are just going really great. So I don't have any plans to be leaving the organization anytime soon, and we're here, and then Sue's got a lot of family here, and so Elgin has like 9 cousins in town here.
Yeah.
So since Elgin has come, like there's been a lot less talk about leaving,
Yeah.
or wanting to get out of here, having an itch to get out of here. So, and it's just having went from from Calgary to San Francisco, like pretty much drop of a hat, like that happened so quick. I thought I'd be in Nebraska 2 or 3 years before I got here. Like you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I don't plan too much around that kind of stuff, and just take it as it comes, and just kind of take the nudges that life gives you and just see where it takes you.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your least favorite yoga pose?
Least favorite, pigeon's one that kind of annoys me. I got a bad knee, but
It hurts.
you're in. You know what I'm talking about? You remember that one?
Oh my gosh! No, you said I know exactly the pain that I was feeling in that moment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it again. It's great. It's a good hurt.
It is. But like in yoga, they say like the ones that you don't like to do are the ones you need to do, right? It's like, so.
Yeah. Then what about like for like what's Monolith look like moving forward?
I mean, we're just continuing to grow. So right now we're building this facility. And so this is what we call kind of what's got one processing unit. So again, we went like it's like one industrial oven, but what we will be doing is building once, like right now, even we're working on the design to build 10 more, like 10 times the capacity.
Yeah.
So it's just more growth, just more and more and more. And then even beyond that, it's like get that one built, get into the market, prove our product, which is not an easy feat. Like we have to make
I'm
the
sure.
product, but like it's going into tires. So like that's a life safety product. A lot of people probably don't think of that. You know, they'll spend no problem spending a couple extra $100 on shoes or whatever. But when it comes to tires, they'll like save the $100.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of R&D that goes into tires. So it takes a while to get adopted by the tire companies. Like we've been working with some major tire companies for 3-4 years now.
I'm sure. I mean, I've not that I am against oil or anything like that, but we are an oil addicted country.
World, right?
Yeah, world too.
Yeah.
Predominantly.
So, and I mean, it's not like so.
Yeah.
As soon as you put any sort of new product into the world, I feel like people are always going to be like, "What is this? Like, what is this thing?" And like, same thing with like solar. Like, why has solar taken forever to like really catch on? It's like now just catching on, and we still don't even really have it in Lincoln, you know.
Yeah.
So I definitely see how that would be difficult.
Yeah, slow
like pace,
adoption.
yeah.
Like carbon black has been around. Like it's been around forever. It's an extremely old. Like you burn a spoon, that black stuff. There's carbon black in that. Technically speaking, but it's been used in tires for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. I can't remember exactly right now. So it's been around a while, but that we're doing it differently. That's exactly it. We've got to convince them that it's not that different. And so there's some learning that they need to do as well. But some of those major companies are like, one of them recently announced that they want 80% of their tire to be from sustainable resources. And so carbon black is 30% of a tire. You do the
Wow.
math, they
Yeah.
need carbon black from a sustainable source, and the current methods out there won't check that box for them. So we're positioned really well from that environmental standpoint with them, but of course it has to work, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's the part that we're having to prove out, and it just takes time. We don't want to rush it either. We don't want there to be an issue with monoliths carbon black, right? That
Yeah.
would be devastating.
Huh. That's crazy.
So lots of
What's-
R&D.
So are you still an accountant with Monolith?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Is
yeah.
it like a team of people now? You like said you went from 15 to 90, so I feel like
Yeah.
your job has probably changed a little bit.
A lot. Yeah. Like, so when I was hired, I was the first non-engineer to be in the organization. So I was doing not just the accounting, but also I'm taking over insurance, and I don't know much more about insurance than the average person who's bought their home insurance, their auto, or, you know, like,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of a startup, but also like the downside is you got just a ton of learning. You're drinking from the fire hose the entire time. But yeah, now the accounting team, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more people just in accounting. But my role involves a lot more than just accounting now, which is great. So it's like I still have a good part of it that's accounting. So I'm still using that education and everything like that. And I enjoy that, the level of accounting that I do now. But getting to speak to the community. And so all that traveling I was doing, that was a lot of working with partners out in Nebraska. But also then, you know, educating people on who we are, what we're doing. We're going to have all this hiring, and, you know, people, we want them to come work for us. And so people out here, you know, a little bit more conservative maybe might be a little reluctant to join this startup company from Silicon Valley. We don't know who you are, so to quit a good job to go join some, you know.
Yeah.
So we came out here and then working with the community too, out near the town of Hallam, which is 25 miles south of town. Just educating them on what we're doing, and also giving them an opportunity to share their concerns, so we can you know, answer any questions or alleviate their concerns about this new manufacturing facility that's going to be a quarter mile from their town, quarter mile from their house, in their backyard essentially. And so that's been a real fun part of the job.
That's super rad that you guys are thoughtful about that, because I feel like there's a lot of people who just be like, just pop up and not say anything.
Try to, right? Yeah. But so appreciate that, because like it's been a lot of effort. And so far it's paid off.
I can imagine that would be, like you said, in a conservative place like Nebraska is, getting people to change or getting people to think about something differently is probably a challenge. So it's really cool that that's kind of a part of your role too. I feel like that's way different than accounting.
Way different.
And really, I feel like, honestly, is probably super challenging.
Yeah,
But
it
it's
was-
also probably rewarding when you actually have somebody that's like, yeah, no, I get it. Like, that's cool. Like, I want that here.
Yeah, no, people are excited. I mean, it's the world's first, and I mean, the problems that we've been solving as an organization, like the first patent to make carbon black out of natural gas using electricity was, I think, filed in 1918.
What?
So like people have been working on this problem for over 100 years now.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing.
moly.
Yeah.
It's just because they couldn't figure out how to do it well, or
Just they haven't been able to get to the commercial scale that we're now at. So
so they haven't been able to scale it to be able to actually put it into the market.
they never got to the point where they were comfortable enough to really scale it and go get after it. And like some of the world's largest chemical company is working on carbon black, and they haven't cracked the nut.
Do you know the environmental impact if it was completely, the way Monolith does it is completely adopted by everybody?
Good question, Kai.
Really good question.
Wow. Is that you? Did you have a microphone hooked up then? Did you talking to your? Okay, tight. Sorry. Didn't
You
mean
wanna
to
make sure-
stifle it. Yeah.
The people heard the question. No, it's a really good question. So, and oh man, I should know this answer because I've been like literally working on stuff tied to this exactly. But our facility, okay, there we go. Got the numbers back in my mind. So the facility that we're going to build, so we're building one right now with one processing unit. When we build it, we have 10 more, so 11. We'll be eliminating. So if you take our process and compare it to the incumbents, this one facility will eliminate about 500,000 tons of CO2 per year.
Jeez.
So like, what does that mean? That's like 100,000 cars off the road. And that's with that one plant.
Wow. Yeah, one plant. So
Yeah.
if you take that times how many carbon black
like
manufacturers that are
cracking 1% of the market.
Yeah.
So it's,
That's crazy.
but yeah, we want to.
Exactly the same product or result.
Yeah, like the intent is just to make the same product, right? Like we don't want to be necessarily different, but we've also got some properties about our product because we're using a different feedstock, so it can be slightly different in some ways to give us some other advantages.
Is the other process just that much cheaper?
Yeah, that's like it just hasn't to find a replacement for it.
Yeah.
That's cost competitive. It just hasn't been done. Now there are other products that they're able to replace, so that a tire today uses less carbon black than it did in the past. And so there has been some substitutes, but within a tire there's a whole bunch of different grades of carbon black.
Yeah.
So the tread is going to be different than the sidewalls, and those are going to be different than what's going to be in contact with the metal band. So there's just a lot of there's just so much chemistry.
Did you think you'd learn so much about tires when you first took the job?
I'm only scratching the surface of what there is to know on this stuff. Like we've got a lab with 12, I think, scientists and chemists and PhDs and that are working on some very difficult problems, and they're having a lot of success. And it's just we've just got an incredible group of really smart people. I feel that I've really gotten very lucky to work with the people I'm working with. It's just an incredible group.
And in Nebraska.
Surrounded by a whole bunch of other great people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you ship most of this stuff? Is it all just semi-truck then? Or you guys have train? Or like,
Most of it'll ship by rail.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but then they also have these things they call super sacks. They're kind of like, just think of a pallet. That size of a bag that's kind of 3.5 or 4 feet by 4 feet, 3.5.
And where are most of the like tire manufacturers, or where are you like selling to mostly? Is it international mostly, or is it?
We're going to try to serve the American market.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so a lot of the tire companies are in the Carolinas. A lot of other rubber products and stuff kind of up in Ohio. Obviously there's a lot of automotive manufacturing up there. So if you think about like all the plastic and rubber in a car,
Yeah.
there's a lot of carbon black and like you know, the window seal is a different carbon black than the plastic that's in your dash. So
interesting. So it's like, so that central thing is really helpful because it's going kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Huh. That's cool.
That's super sick. Does Monolith like provide like any literature information like on the internet that like people can look at?
Well, we got a website.
That's tight. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, you could look us up, monolithmaterials.com. Yeah, check it out. I think we're gonna be actually having a new website come out real soon. So I helped to do the current website.
Ooh.
Maybe shouldn't admit that, but like but now we've got professionals.
It's a startup. You just,
but that's
you
it.
Take
like,
on whatever you need.
That's
to take
I mean,
on.
obviously we had outside consultants who like really did it, but like some of the words and stuff I got involved in just because I guess I could. I don't know. But yeah, so no, we've got a whole new branding effort that we're going to be rolling out soon. So I just kind of got a teaser of it in the last couple of weeks from our team. So pretty excited about it.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
that's super cool. Also, just so people listening can look, not just for me.
Yeah. Yeah, check
Couldn't
it
just
out.
be for you. That's fun.
We're
too.
hiring, man. We're hiring still. Like we're going to be hiring for such a long time, and all sorts of positions. Off the top of my head, I used to know all of these things because, like, anyways, just don't now. But I think we probably still got some chemist positions, engineer positions are probably always going to be there. And then we need people in the office as well. We're actually needing a financial analyst, so we need all sorts of people. I mean, we're not just building this new technology; we're building a company as well. Like, policies and procedures don't got a lot of those because like those take a lot of time, and we just hire people who are really smart and use good judgment. And get at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else you think people should know? Like either about you or about just Monolith in general?
About life, even.
Yeah.
Let's go
just
for
we want to
it.
go deep here.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. That's very broad.
It's what's like.
We can
what's
scope it down again.
Yeah, I'll bring it. I'll bring it into focus a little bit.
I'm
What's
a
something
dreamer.
like? What's something that like recently you've learned that maybe changed the way you lived your life? Maybe.
Well, Elgin, our little boy, has just changed, the world in a big way. And it's just forcing me to think like, now I've got this little dude and it's monkey see, monkey do, right? So you've got to be a really great role model because he's going to turn out like me in a lot of ways, whether
you like it or not.
Whether I like it or not, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful, a little bit more careful and more conscientious and just more aware of what you're doing. And for me, that's just been kind of a journey that I've been on for a while, like moving to San Francisco too. When I moved there, like aside from our the guy who I knew from high school, Rob, aside from knowing him, but he's married and he had a couple kids and he didn't live in the city. So in San Francisco, like you never leave the city. If you don't live in the city, you don't really go to the city. So I didn't really know anybody. And so again, was alone a lot. And so then it was like, okay, it was kind of like when I moved to Calgary, I moved there with a bunch of people I knew. I started with a new company. 30 of us started the same day. So like you had a class, right? You had a group that you were going to be close with. And when I moved, and I was only 6 hours from home, right? 6-hour drive. But moving to San Francisco, like I knew nobody. And so being alone there, just forced, like unless I was just going to sit on the couch and watch TV all the time, I was like, no, I got to get out of here. I'm going to go stir crazy. So like, what do I really want to do with my time? And what kind of people do I want to meet and interact and hang out with? And so there was a lot of that, like just self-reflection and awareness that really started in San Francisco. And in a city like that, there's just so many really bright, smart people, young people. And so you get into a lot of different kind of conversations with people and just see all the crazy things that people are getting into. And that is in like every which way. Like there's so much, whether that's just what they do for their job or what they all think they're going to change the world. Like everybody there thinks they're going to change the world, but so many people have. Yeah. Right. Like
who
Facebook
are
and all
you
these
to
like,
tell them that they're not going to change the world.
Yeah. And so like you just become more open-minded just to hear what people are doing. And then you start thinking too, and then you get into your own head a little bit, or at least I do. And anyway, so there's just been like, there was just a lot of personal growth and like kind of an awareness, self-awareness, and digging in those tough spots in the mind and trying to, you know, be a better person, I guess. So now
Awesome.
it's just
Nice.
continue to try to do that and be
Yeah.
a good role model. The biggest challenge, man. It's just a wild ride.
Sweet. Anything you want to plug just to the general public, like your Instagram, anybody you are thankful
Think I've
for?
already plugged my girlfriend's yoga. But do, man, yoga's been a big thing for me too. I've been doing it for about 10 years, and that's really cool.
Did you start that in Calgary or San
I
Francisco?
did in Calgary, yeah.
Oh,
And then
okay.
San Francisco, it was just crazy. My neighborhood, there was like so many yoga studios where I was, because it's San Francisco. They
Yep.
can do that, the niche like that. But that's really cool that you got into yoga. You should just
I want to keep doing it.
keep doing it. Yeah.
It's
And
fun.
the other guys, you should check it out as well.
I've just started jujitsu, so
That's really
I'm-
rad.
I really enjoy it. So
Can you talk about that a little bit?
talk about it?
Yeah.
I don't know
Because
anything.
I want to know, like, I've like, it's been something that I've been curious about.
I don't know anything about it other than like
You're going.
I go and I learn every single time I'm there, and I get beat up every single time I'm there. But I won once the other day.
That's tight,
that was
dude.
pretty
Good.
cool.
Yeah.
Celebrate
It was
that.
against another beginner, so I didn't feel like that great. But
No, but you gotta.
it was. I don't know. It's like. So I, like working out for me. Like I can't go to the gym. Like
Just sit there and do arm curls? You can't do that?
It's terrible. Like it drives me nuts, and I can't consistently do it. So like I have to do something where like my mind is almost like so engaged that I don't realize like I'm completely exhausted. So like soccer was that for me when I played tons and tons of soccer growing up. Played it until I tore my ACL twice, here, and then I was like, man, I need to do something else that is that. So I kind of like worked out for a little while or whatever, and it's just like, nah, this doesn't work. And then I tried that out, and it's just like, it's so challenging because it's like, how do I gotta position this here and gotta do this here in order to get this result, and then the other person does something else, and then your brain's trying to think of everything that they're gonna do.
Chest.
Neck, and you're mentally like not realizing that you're done. Like your body is just exhausted. So like when I'll get home, I'll just be like just realizing how tired I am, because it's like my brain's still thinking like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I should have moved here, or should have done that. And so I really enjoy it for that aspect, and like the community of people that are there at Lincoln BJJ Center just over down the street from here.
Yeah, cool.
Like super cool community of people just like want to learn and show you and help you, and so I've enjoyed that a ton.
Very cool.
But yeah, I do it for workout, but I also do it because it's like I feel like there's like, it's almost like motorcycle riding at the same time, where it's like you're so mentally into what you're doing that you don't realize what you're doing almost.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm so focused on
It's a good
that.
outlet, I guess you could say.
Whereas
Yeah.
like motorcycle riding, I'm so focused on not dying.
You're so present, but like, yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't realize that we just did like 250 miles. Like we should probably pull over and take a break, or like I'm gonna run out of gas,
Well, no, that's why I'm really happy that I documented, like I journaled. I don't ever like journal, but like that trip, I was like, I gotta just journal this.
Yeah.
And so glad I did, because I just go and flip through some of that stuff, and it's just like, yeah. And then Instagram, I took a lot, but yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
So come whenever you want.
Yeah.
If you want to try it out, it's a trip. It's
Well, I
super
just
fun.
got into the wall climbing a couple
do we
times
have
this
time?
week, and
See-
so I
see,
wanted.
that's
So
the
I
thing.
can't do. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
trying
you
to,
can't do
like,
everything.
You can't do it all.
That's the thing. It's
Do you
like
have a membership over there, or you just
Not yet. No, I guess I just committed myself, didn't I?
Yeah. There
so
we go.
like
Come on.
climbing, and like that's why I don't think I would like yoga too, because it's just like that slow burn of just like,
It's not slow.
to me it's so like,
Have
it's
you done it?
I've done it before.
Okay, good.
But like where I'm just like, I'm holding that position and all I'm thinking about is how much this hurts. And like when you're the same thing, like when you're climbing, like all I'm thinking about is like how do I
Just
just not be here anymore?
See, but like when like the way that you were describing like jujitsu was like how climbing is for me.
Yeah,
It's-
and I'm not discounting
That's
any
insane.
of that.
No,
That's
I
just
get,
mentally,
which
like,
is just insane that like it doesn't do that for you. But like I don't think jujitsu would do that for me. But climbing does
Maybe,
it for me.
yeah.
It's sick. Climbing rocks is really fun. My hands are annihilated, and it's a really good time. So I go there and like climb rocks for like 2 hours, and then it's like 2 hours have passed and I'm exhausted. But it's like, but I could probably climb for another hour if I wanted to. But at
Better
the
than
exact
me.
same time, I'm like, no, I should probably rest.
How many pull-ups can you do now? That
I haven't
climbing?
tried doing pull-ups.
Yeah, you should try. That's why I always like watching like the Alex Honnold documentaries and stuff.
When
where
he's doing
like, he's like fingertips, just like doing pull-ups like crazy. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
he's not human.
Yeah, like I can't do pull-ups, and like I'm starting to climb wall. It's just like, but it's fun. A good buddy
Legs.
of mine in town here, Ducky or Derek. I don't know if you know.
I don't know him.
No,
No.
yeah, he used to work there. And then his girlfriend, she used to teach the yoga there actually.
Oh, no way.
Not recently though, so you probably missed her. But she does 5:30 a.m. yoga if you're interested.
Nope.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, man. I'll see you there.
Although I am up a lot earlier or a lot later now. It's either I'm like up at 6 or like 4 o'clock in the morning, or I'm up at like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
There's like no normal ground. It's like
Right.
It's like either he's sleeping or he's not sleeping. So we'll see. I'll
True.
set an alarm, but I might already be awake.
Yeah, you'll be woke up if your
Yeah.
alarm doesn't.
But
Yeah.
And then you
cool,
decide to
cool.
go do 5:30 yoga.
Yes, maybe I will. We'll see.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll have a good group out there at 5:30, so you should come
Okay.
if you can sneak away.
Maybe.
I know you got some parenting duties.
We'll
too,
see.
so.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I
thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you,
Thanks for
guys.
coming on.